Hi students, it's Mrs. Shomura-Takata. Today I'm going to be going over the answer key to the capstone book, The Horrible, Miserable Middle Ages. So as you can see on the screen, I'm just going to read the question and the answers. So you should have read the capstone book or had the capstone book read to you. And these are the answers to the questions. First one, under the dirty work section. Why wasn't it easy for the peasants to wash off filth when they worked a long, hard day? They didn't have running water like we do. Okay. Number 2, how often did most peasants bathe? Once a week. Gross, right? 3, what did peasants do as an after-meal activity? Well, they paired up with somebody to pick the lice from their clothes. Sounds like a lot of fun. Next section, rotting teeth. What did some people think caused cavities? They thought worms caused cavities. And what were 2 methods of treating cavities and rotting teeth? One was they put an open flame under their jaw to force the worms out, or a tooth puller or a barber would take their teeth out with pliers. Number 3, do you think the proven remedy for curing a toothache would actually work? Why or why not? Well, no, because they say it worked, but that was a long time ago, so we can't be so sure. So we don't know if it actually really did work. The next slide. Okay. All right, trenchers. Oh. Trenchers and other treats. I don't know what's going on here with this. Alrighty. What in the world? I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with this, why I'm having such technical difficulties. Why did commoners, which were peasants and serfs, have loose teeth and spongy gums? Well, they ate mostly dry bread and didn't get many vitamins. So when your parents tell you to eat a variety of food, it's really important because not only, well, you need vitamins that are in things aside from, candy and chips. Candy and chips, soda don't have much vitamins, okay? Number 2, what are trenchers and who were they given to? Trenchers were pieces of stale bread that soaked up the grease from meals, and the nobles gave them to the serfs and peasants so that they could eat it. No flushing. What were the names of the people who cleaned out the cesspots? They were called gong farmers. Number 2, why do you think people who cleaned the cesspots were unpopular and lived only with other cesspot cleaners? Well, because they were probably stinky and smelly, and they were covered with poop, with waste. And number 3, what was the difference between a chamber pot and an outhouse? Well, an outhouse was like a little building. It's a shack outside with holes that led into a pit. But a chamber pot was an actual pot that you could carry into the house and that you could go to the bathroom in. And you could dump it illegally out of your window. That's pretty gross still. Cold castles. Number 1, what was the main source of heat for medieval castles? Fireplaces. Number 2, why were moats scary and gross? Well, remember the moat is a thing around the castle, and they were filled with dirty water and human and animal waste, and they would often have underwater spikes because remember it's to kind of protect the castle from people invading, so they wanted to make that water as unpleasant as possible. Okay, it's gonna let me, yes, okay. Hang tight. Okay. Medieval towns. List 2 reasons why city streets and medieval villages were disgusting. Well, 1, animal guts were thrown into the street, as well as their blood. And 2, people dumped their waste into the street. So it's not like Mililani, where we have nice running toilets. They just threw their waste out onto the streets. Okay? Next, barber surgeons. What was the best case and worst case for people who relied on folk medicine and common healers to cure their ailments? Well, the best case was that the medicine didn't hurt them. The worst case was you could die. Number 2, what could be dangerous about putting pig poop on a bleeding nose? Well, it could infect your nose and make things worse. Okay, the bacteria and the germs inside the pig poop, putting it on an open wound. Oh yeah, no, we don't want that. Number 3, what would medical doctors use to suck blood from patients? They would use leeches. Okay. Next, plague horrors. What was another name for the plague? They called it Black Death. Okay. How did people get the plague? Well, they caught it from the fleas that feasted on infected rats. So, rats, and then there were fleas on the rats, and then the fleas jump around, and people can get flea bites, and that's how they got it. What were the lumps from the plague called? Buboes. Okay. And why would people toss dead plague bodies over castle walls? To use it as a weapon, because the plague was contagious. And so what they do is they'd throw the body over the wall, and then if people touched that dead body or got close to it, they could technically maybe get the plague. Okay, so it was kind of like the beginnings of biological warfare. Okay, let's see if I can get to the next slide. Yes, okay. Hang on. All right. Now, you needed to use the glossary at the back of the capstone book to define these words. So, I'm going to go over the definitions. Bloodletting is the practice of removing blood by opening a vein. Cavity, a decayed or broken down part of a tooth. Fumes, they're gases, vapor, or smoke given off by chemicals or waste. A moat. A moat is a deep, water-filled trench built around the outside of a castle to prevent attacks. Noble, a person of wealth and high rank. Peasant, a person in Europe who worked on a farm or owned a small farm. Plague, a serious disease that spreads quickly to many people and often causes death. Scurvy, a deadly disease caused by lack of vitamin C. It produces swollen limbs, bleeding gums, and weakness. And serf is a farm worker who was bound to the land and paid money to the manor lord. All right, so these are the answers. Please make sure you put the correct answers into your slideshow so that you can get credit. Okay, bye.